Hello people, welcome back to Kayla Crates. I'm Kayla and today I'm going to be reading and answering some of your advice questions. Please keep in mind I am no psychologist, I am no therapist, whatever. I have very little experience with life. I'm just going to tell you what I would tell you if we were sitting down and talking as friends. Okay, so the first one is how to be more feminine. So I'm going to assume that this question is asking how to be more stereotypically feminine because there are so many different types of personalities and everything, so many different ways to express your personality. So I'm just going to go along with what is stereotypically considered feminine. Besides the obvious like makeup, hair, clothing, I put down some like smaller things that still make a big difference, such as posture, which I need to be working on that as well. Hygiene, and I put showing off a little, which I mean, if you want your makeup look or outfit or whatever to flatter the parts of yourself that you are confident about, which is another point on the list, is confidence. Expressive, I also put matching, tie it all in. This is a big thing that is kind of underrated, I think. You can see I've got this, this white thing, and I couldn't find my white scrunchie or I would be wearing it, but it's like, if you got this little white bit right here, pair it with a white scrunchie, maybe some white shoes, and it just kind of like ties it all in. I feel like generally girls are kind of attuned to that, in tune. Anyway, they pick up on it more, you know what I mean? Pay more attention to tying those things in and matching them when it comes to their outfits or makeup. Compliments. At least in my experience, girls are a little bit more specific on what they compliment about. They will compliment on you, like matching the way your hair looks, or they're like, oh my gosh, it must have been so hard to get your hair like that. It's just the little things like that, and just knowing how to compliment the smaller, more specific things. Like, just generally, women are the ones to pick up on those little things a lot more. All right, next one. Friends and making them. If it's more personalized, I have social anxiety and have dropped out of school to get my GED. I have one close friend I can be uninhibitedly myself with, however, they live across the country. I've made friends with others, but I can never be fully myself with them due to the judgment that I feel I receive when I act like myself. Advice? So the first thing I'm going to say on this one is step out of your comfort zone. That's going to be the most important thing. I still struggle with this. I mean, I worry about, like, if I invite this person over for a movie, are we going to be sitting in awkward silence the whole time? Things like that, but you just have to take that leap of faith sometimes, and you have to take action in that. Be the one to plan some things, and, I mean, just being friendly and making conversation and just getting to know them first, and then if you feel like, yeah, this person seems like a cool person, invite them over for a movie or games or go shopping or whatever it is, and just make an effort. I think a lot of people are afraid to make an effort, and that's why more people don't do it. So sometimes you just have to take action and you need to be the one to do it, and it's scary. Trust me, I know it is, but I think it's very helpful in starting that process. So for that last bit, when they say, I've made friends with others but can never be fully myself with them due to the judgment I feel I receive when I act like myself. Those are not your friends. And I think you're starting to realize that, but those are not your friends. Friends are people that you can be yourself around and that you feel comfortable around. They are any less than that, they are not your friends. I'm going to tell you something right now and hope you drill it into your mind and never forget it, because it took me way too long to learn, and it is still one of the most important lessons I've ever learned. That is, if you have to drop a friend because of their toxicity or their drama or whatever, they are not your friend and you are not losing anything. I've had to drop a few friends because of their toxicity and drama and whatever else, and at the end of the day, like laying in bed at night, I was like, dang, like I didn't have anybody to go to the game with or go shopping with this weekend, and I missed them, and I can't believe I lost them. But I wasn't losing anything because I dropped them to get my happiness and confidence back. That is not losing anything. That's like losing a penny and finding a dollar. What are you really losing if you are losing this one part of your life but gaining back a whole other good side of you? The benefits outweigh the cons and it ends up not being a loss after all. And some people are like, oh yeah, well obviously that makes tons of sense, but that took me way too long to learn. So that is one thing that I hope everybody watching this video learns. That is not a loss. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. One last thing that I forgot to say earlier, join groups and clubs and stuff, whether that's like you start going to church groups, whether that's you join an actual club, maybe a community theater or sport or whatever. That's a good way to just meet a lot of people. And even if you don't meet like a best friend there, you still have a lot of friends. Alright, so the next one is how to get over an ex. First of all, take time for you. Take time to do what you enjoy. Take time to take care of yourself. Self-care, I feel like a lot of people are always like, oh yeah, like do a whole skincare routine and do a hair mask or have a spa, whatever. That's not what self-care looks like for everybody, and that is not what self-care has to look like for you. Your self-care routine could look like eating popcorn and watching Netflix. And I think we a lot of times fall into that, well, self-care means this. No, self-care means whatever you are doing to make yourself feel better. You can do those things that you enjoy, but I would also say take time for yourself to clean up, like take a shower, brush your teeth, wash your face, comb your hair. But a lot of times when you are kind of stuck on things, you can get stuck in a rut where you just don't want to do anything and you just don't have the energy and you just want to lay in bed all day. The simple things add up, and if you can at least get up and brush your teeth, then it feels so much better than if you had just laid in bed all day. So along with whatever your personal self-care routine looks like, I would make sure you also practice self-care in hygiene. Also, let yourself feel emotions. If you miss your ex, let yourself feel that. Just think about it. Don't try and push it away and be like, oh, I can't think about how much I miss them. You have to let yourself feel that without dwelling on it too much, because there's a difference between getting caught up on it and thinking about what could have been and what could I have done differently. Then there's acknowledging, oh, I miss this person, and just noticing that you miss that person and noticing how you feel about it, and then acknowledging it, and then just letting whatever else come into your mind. The last one is time. Sometimes that's just all you can give yourself, and in that time, do these things that I've talked about, do other things that other people have given you advice about. They're going to take time to work. It's not going to be you sit down and watch one episode on Netflix and then you're all better. It's going to take time. And give yourself as much time as you need. There's no shame in taking months and months or even years if you need. Just let yourself have the time that you need. Okay, so a couple more relationship ones. This next one is, how do I know if it's time to break up? If you are feeling exhausted after spending time with this person, maybe feeling like you can't give them what they need, if you are seeing red flags, probably a sign to break up. And even just the fact that you're thinking about breaking up is probably a sign that you need to break up. And if you really want to make it a good, healthy relationship, you can, but there is also a time to just let things go, and you know better than I do, obviously, whether it is time to let things go or whether it is time to break up. But again, I think the fact that you're considering it might be a sign, might not be, but it could be. All right, this one, another relationship one, just says relationships. Biggest thing, and I know you're gonna hear this everywhere, is communication. That is key. You need to tell your partner if they are doing something that is like really starting to get on your nerves. You need to let them know that just, and I mean, then you're not gonna have it like built up and have a huge freak out whenever, you know, whenever the last straw comes. So just things like that. Also telling them what you like. Say if they bring you flowers and you're like, oh my gosh, that was so sweet of you, I really appreciated that you did that. Awesome. Now they know what they can do for you. It can be whatever. It can be the little things. It can be just like giving you a compliment, whatever. Just letting them know what you appreciate and maybe what you are seeing that you would like to change. I think I've actually never done this. I think it would be cool to try though, is a kind of a check-in, like every so often just say, hey, how do you think this is going? Is there anything you think that we should work on? Anything that we should change? And then you can work things out there. But again, it just all boils back down to communication. That is key. And I'm sorry, I know you're gonna hear that everywhere. I do have more to talk about this. But communication is key. Okay, so the next one I have down is love languages. If you don't know what the love languages are, those are 5 main ways to show love: quality time, acts of service, physical touch, gift giving, and words of affirmation. Yes, I remember them all. Okay, for example, if you know that your partner's love language is words of affirmation, make sure you give that to them. Quality time, make sure you give that to them. Make sure that they know that you love them by giving them that quality time, by giving them that compliment, by telling them how great they're doing. And it can be a mix of both. Sometimes you want all, sometimes you don't really want any, or you don't know what you want. But just knowing what usually helps and what usually makes you feel loved is very important. And with that, just make sure you're showing love in many different ways. And one more thing, make sure you have other people. Make sure that your partner is not the only person that you have in your life. Make sure you still have your good friends that you can turn to, just somebody that you can fall back on, and not like a rebound, but just like a good friend that if something is going wrong, if you are having a fight or if you break up or anything, just make sure that you have other people in your life and that you're not hyper focused on your partner. So the last one is women in all caps. And I assume we're talking about like when people are like, oh my gosh, like she's being so confusing, all that kind of thing. It was very vague, so I'm just doing the best I can. First of all, women drop hints. I've seen a lot of people that are like, oh my gosh, like it's so complicated and hard to please a woman, and literally anything, like anything. Like if you just compliment her hair, that will make her whole day, her whole month even. Another thing that does complicate things is hormone cycles. That's a complicated time in our lives as well. Another thing that if you are so confused about, you know, like, what does this mean? What does this mean? It's because we probably are too. That might not be for everybody, but at least for me, I don't know what I'm thinking half the time. All right, that is it for today. I will maybe have another one if I get more responses, if I got like a substantial amount more responses. I'm no therapist. I'm just telling you my advice as a friend. Don't take this in any professional way, because that is not what it is at all. And I hope I helped a little bit at least. Stay safe out there and stay healthy, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.